From a flicker of candlelight in 1789 to the glare of modern screens in the West Wing, every president has held the pen. Executive orders not passed by Congress, but etched into law by command. Some shaped history. Some sparked controversy. Others were forgotten. Until now. This is where we break them down. Every signature, every shift in power, every consequence still felt today. From Washington to Biden, welcome to Executive Order Watch.
Democracy, we live for it. For democracy, we fight for it. For democracy, we've died for it. And for democracy, we watch it. This is Executive Order Watch.
My fellow Americans, 1983 was a turning point. After years of hardship, America began to feel the wind shift. The economy started to rise, confidence was returning, and once again, we saw light on the horizon. When I took office, I told you we'd rebuild this nation's strength, economic, military, and moral. And by 1983, the hard work began to show. Unemployment, which had hit 10% the year before, began to fall. Inflation was down, interest rates were dropping, growth was up. We called it the Reagan recovery, but in truth, it was your recovery. It was the American people's resilience, sacrifice, and belief in free enterprise that turned this country around. 1983 was also a year of global tests and firm resolve. In October, tragedy struck in Beirut. 241 American servicemen, most of them Marines, were killed in a suicide bombing at our barracks. It was the deadliest attack on U.S. Marines since World War II. I felt the weight of every life lost, but we did not retreat from our responsibilities in the world. Instead, we took that pain and turned it into determination. Just days later, we launched Operation Urgent Fury in Grenada, a rescue mission to protect American students and restore democracy after a violent Marxist coup. It wasn't just a military operation, it was a message. The United States would not stand by while communism spread in our own hemisphere. We acted decisively and we brought our people home safely. At home, I continued to fight for lower taxes, less government, and a strong defense. My belief was simple. Government is not the engine of progress. The people are. And while critics said we were cutting too deep or building too much, I believed then, and I believe now, that peace through strength is the surest path to security. In 1983, we also proposed one of the boldest defense initiatives in history, the Strategic Defense Initiative, or SDI. The idea was to move beyond mutual assured destruction and toward a shield that could protect free nations from nuclear missiles. Some called it Star Wars. I called it Vision. I governed that year the way I had since the beginning, by trusting the people, by standing firm against tyranny, and by believing in America's unique destiny. Now, in a moment, we'll begin reviewing the executive orders I issued during that year, actions that strengthened our military posture, streamlined federal management, and advanced our principles abroad and at home. Some were tactical, some symbolic, but all were part of a broader strategy to restore confidence in American leadership. So, stay with me as we take a deeper look at how those presidential orders shaped not just the year 1983, but the future we're living in today. Executive Order 12,400 President's Commission on Strategic Forces on January 3, 1983. Executive Order 12,401 Presidential Commission on Indian Reservation Economies on January 14, 1983. Executive Order 12,402 National Commission on Social Security Reform on January 15, 1983. Executive Order 12,403 African Development Bank on February 8, 1983. Executive Order 12,404 Charitable Fundraising on February 10, 1983. Executive Order 12,405. Establishing an emergency board to investigate a dispute between the Consolidated Rail Corporation and the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers on February 14, 1983. Executive Order 12,406 President's Commission on Strategic Forces on February 18, 1983. Executive Order 12,407 Federal Regional Councils on February 22, 1983. Executive Order 12,408 Reports on International Organizations on February 23, 1983. Executive Order 12,409 Nuclear Cooperation with Euratom on March 7, 1983. Executive Order 12,410 Exclusions from the Federal Labor Management Relations Program on March 28, 1983. Executive Order 12,411 Government Workspace Management Reforms on March 29, 1983. Executive Order 12,412 Peace Corps Advisory Council on March 29, 1983. Executive Order 12,413 Amending the Generalized System of Preferences on March 30, 1983. Executive Order 12,414 Establishing an emergency board to investigate a dispute between the Long Island Railroad and certain labor organizations on April 4, 1983. Executive Order 12,415. Extension of the Presidential Commission on Drunk Driving on April 5, 1983. Executive Order 12,416. Intergovernmental Review of Federal Programs on April 8, 1983. Executive Order 12,417 Strategic and Critical Materials on May 2, 1983. Executive Order 12,418 Transfer of Functions Relating to Financial Responsibility of Vessels for Pollution Liability on May 5, 1983. Executive Order 12,419 Implementation of the International Convention on Tonnage Measurement of Ships on May 5, 1983. Executive Order 12,420 Incentive Pay for Hazardous Duty on May 11, 1983. Executive Order 12,421 Presidential Commission on the Conduct of United States-Japan Relations on May 12, 1983. Executive Order 12,422 Level 4 of the Executive Schedule on May 20, 1983. Executive Order 12,423 Foreign Assistance and Arms Control on May 26, 1983. Executive Order 12,424 President's Commission on Strategic Forces on June 10, 1983. Executive Order 12,425 International Criminal Police Organizations on June 16, 1983. Executive Order 12,426 President's Advisory Committee on Women's Business Ownership on June 22, 1983. Executive Order 12,427 President's Advisory Council on Private Sector Initiatives on June 27, 1983. Executive Order 12,428 President's Commission on Industrial Competitiveness on June 28, 1983. Executive Order 12,429 President's Private Sector Survey on Cost Control in the Federal Government on June 28, 1983. Executive Order 12,430 Reports of Identical Bids on July 6, 1983. Executive Order 12,431 Level 4 of the Executive Schedule on July 8, 1983. Executive Order 12,432 Minority Business Enterprise Development on July 14, 1983. Executive Order 12,433 National Bipartisan Commission on Central America on July 19, 1983. Executive Order 12,434 Alaska Railroad Rates on July 19, 1983. Executive Order 12,435 President's Commission on Organized Crime on July 28, 1983. Executive Order 12,436 Payment of certain benefits to survivors of persons who died in or as a result of military service on July 29, 1983. Executive Order 12,437 Fuel use prohibitions on August 11, 1983. Executive Order 12,438 Review of increases in rates of basic pay for employees of the Veterans Administration on August 23, 1983. Executive Order 12,439 President's Task Force on Food Assistance on September 8, 1983. Executive Order 12,440 President's Commission on Industrial Competitiveness on September 8, 1983. Executive Order 12,441 Amending the Generalized System of Preferences on September 20, 1983. Executive Order 12,442 Presidential Commission on Indian Reservation Economies on September 21, 1983. Executive Order 12,443 Central Intelligence Agency Retirement and Disability System on September 27, 1983. Executive Order 12,444 Continuation of Export Control Regulations on October 14, 1983. Executive Order 12,445 Certification of Containers and Vehicles for Use in International Transport on October 17, 1983. Executive Order 12,446 Foreign Service Retirement and Disability System on October 17, 1983. Executive Order 12,447 President's Private Sector Survey on Cost Control in the Federal Government on October 27, 1983. Executive Order 12,448 Exercise of Authority under Section 218 of Title 18, United States Code on November 4, 1983. Executive Order 12,449 National Bipartisan Commission on Central America on November 18, 1983. Executive Order 12,450 Interagency Committee on Handicapped Employees on December 9, 1983. Executive Order 12,451 Continuation of Export Control Regulations on December 20th, 1983. Executive Order 12,452 Revised List of Quarantinable Communicable Diseases on December 22nd, 1983. Executive Order 12,453 Delegation to the Secretary of State on December 23, 1983. Executive Order 12,454 President's National Security Telecommunications Advisory Committee on December 29, 1983. Executive Order 12,455 President's Private Sector Survey on Cost Control in the Federal Government on December 29, 1983. Executive Order 12,456 Adjustments of Certain Rates of Pay and Allowances on December 30th, 1983.
My
Name's
fellow
Pizza, where we deliver happiness one slice at a time. What's your craving today?
Yeah, hi. Is Seymour there?
Oh, Seymour. I think he might be busy making our special pies. But hey, why not swing by the pizzeria? We've got a pie with your name on it. Anything else I can help you with?
I was looking for Seymour Butts.
Ah, I see. Well, if you're looking for Seymour Butts, he might be hiding behind a pepperoni slice. Anything else I can do for you today?
No, that's it.
I'm Terrence, a marketing professional with a passion for helping your business grow smarter and faster. Here at DaBomb Digital Media, based right here in Atlanta, Georgia, we specialize in bringing your vision to life. Whether you're launching your first website or reimagining your entire digital presence, we've got you covered. From modern website design and search engine optimization to setting up your own AI-powered agency tools, we deliver innovative solutions that keep you ahead of the curve. Ready to unlock your business's full potential? Let's build something remarkable together. For more information, visit our YouTube channel. Just search DaBomb Digital Media on YouTube and start exploring tips, success stories, and everything you need to elevate your brand.
My fellow Americans, let's talk about the year 1983, a year that marked both recovery and reckoning for this country. Ronald Reagan was nearly 3 years into his presidency. By then, his philosophy of government is the problem had been translated into policy, not just through laws passed in Congress, but through a wave of executive orders that redefined how the federal government worked. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't agree with all of it. Reagan's approach was bold, unapologetically conservative, and deeply ideological. But we have to give credit where it's due. He knew how to use the powers of the presidency. And in 1983, he used them to shape the direction of the nation and leave a legacy that still affects us today. That year, President Reagan issued dozens of executive orders. They touched nearly every corner of American life, from defense to deregulation, from economic commissions to civil service pay, from nuclear cooperation to food assistance. Some of these orders supported the growing private sector role in public governance, like the President's Private Sector Survey on Cost Control, known as the Grace Commission. Others strengthened our posture abroad, like the creation of commissions focused on strategic forces and Central America during a time of Cold War confrontation and unrest in the Western Hemisphere. There were efforts to reorganize the executive branch, to freeze or limit regulations, and to adjust pay and compensation, all done with the stroke of the pen. Now, how did these executive actions affect 1983? Let's start with the economy. After years of recession, the tide began to turn. Growth returned, unemployment ticked down, inflation stabilized. Reagan's executive orders played a part in that recovery, not just by what they did, but by the signal they sent that the federal government would be leaner, stricter, and more pro-business. But not everyone felt the benefits equally. While Wall Street and investors began to prosper, many working families still struggled. Cuts to federal assistance programs combined with a shift toward privatization created gaps in support for the most vulnerable. Executive orders didn't always fill those gaps, and sometimes they widened them. On the world stage, 1983 was a tense year. In October, we lost 241 American service members in a terrorist bombing in Beirut, the deadliest attack on U.S. Marines since World War II. Just days later, Reagan ordered the invasion of Grenada, a controversial move, justified as a rescue mission and a stand against Marxist regimes in the Caribbean. Executive orders that year strengthened the president's authority over national security, intelligence operations, and interagency coordination, setting a precedent that future administrations would build on, for better or worse. There were also moments of innovation, like the promotion of minority business enterprise or the creation of commissions focused on industrial competitiveness and women's business ownership. Some of these laid early groundwork for the diversity and economic equity initiatives we continue to push today. So what does all this tell us? That in 1983, Reagan wasn't just governing, he was restructuring, using executive power to move fast, cut through bureaucracy, and rewrite the relationship between the American people and their government. That approach helped usher in an economic recovery, but it also came with trade-offs, especially for labor, for public institutions, and for communities on the margins. And so today, 4 decades later, we're still living in the world that was shaped in no small part by the executive decisions made that year. Now, in just a moment, we're going to take a closer look, a top 10 executive orders of 1983 deep dive. We'll break down which actions had the greatest impact, not just in that moment, but in the years and decades that followed. We'll look at how they reshaped our national security, our economic systems, and our role on the global stage. Because to understand where we are and where we're going, we've got to understand how we got here. Let's begin. Top 10 executive orders of 1983 under President Ronald Reagan. In-depth breakdown. Number 1, Executive Order 12,432, Minority Business Enterprise Development. Signed July 14, 1983. Purpose. This order was Reagan's most direct effort in 1983 to promote economic equity. It instructed every federal agency to develop comprehensive plans to increase contracting opportunities for minority-owned businesses. Impact in 1983. For many minority entrepreneurs, this was a welcomed acknowledgement that access to federal contracts had long been out of reach. The EO aimed to ensure fairer participation in government procurement. While the administration was cutting social programs elsewhere, this action stood out for targeting economic empowerment through private sector opportunity. Present-day relevance. The framework built by Executive Order 12,432 remains foundational for today's supplier diversity programs. Subsequent administrations, including both Democratic and Republican, built on its directives. Its legacy persists in how government and corporate procurement strategies address equity. Number 2, Executive Order 12,444, Continuation of Export Control Regulations. Signed October 14, 1983. Purpose. This order extended existing controls over the export of sensitive goods and technologies. These regulations were intended to limit the transfer of dual-use technologies to adversarial nations, primarily the Soviet Union. Impact in 1983. At the height of the Cold War, this executive order reinforced the Reagan doctrine of peace through strength. It was both a geopolitical maneuver and a protective measure for American industrial advantage. The tech sector, then still in its infancy, began seeing export scrutiny. Present-day relevance. The regulatory foundation laid here evolved into today's Export Administration regulations, which govern tech exports to China, Russia, and others. It remains one of the cornerstones of American national security trade policy. Number 3, Executive Order 12,428, President's Commission on Industrial Competitiveness. Signed June 28, 1983. Purpose: Reagan sought to address America's declining industrial base by forming a commission of business leaders to study how the U.S. could regain global competitiveness. Impact in 1983. As manufacturing jobs moved overseas and Japan gained economic dominance, this EO was a recognition that U.S. industry needed modernization. The Commission's recommendations helped influence long-term federal strategies on research, infrastructure, and trade competitiveness. Present-day relevance. Many innovation-focused federal policies trace back to the findings and goals first discussed under this commission. It marked a conservative administration's shift toward using executive orders to support national industry. Number 4, Executive Order 12,443, CIA Retirement and Disability System Update, signed September 27, 1983. Purpose: updated the retirement and disability benefits for CIA personnel to reflect national changes in retirement policies and federal service classifications. Impact in 1983. This EO aimed to strengthen intelligence workforce stability during a time of high geopolitical tension. By modernizing retirement systems, the administration hoped to retain experienced operatives. Present-day relevance. The CIA and other intelligence branches continue to use the foundations of this EO to manage human capital and benefits policy. It underscored the executive's role in shaping the invisible scaffolding of national security. Number 5, Executive Order 12,430, Reports of Identical Bids, signed July 6, 1983. Purpose: this EO revoked a 1961 order and eliminated the requirement for the Attorney General to investigate identical bids submitted to federal agencies. Impact in 1983. It reflected Reagan's push to reduce regulatory burdens. The order argued that such reviews were no longer needed due to modern competition and oversight mechanisms. Present-day relevance. This move remains controversial. Critics saw it as removing a layer of antitrust oversight. It foreshadowed later deregulatory efforts in federal procurement and pricing mechanisms. Number 6, Executive Order 12,450, Interagency Committee on Handicapped Employees, signed December 9, 1983. Purpose: to promote the hiring and advancement of people with disabilities in federal employment. Impact in 1983. At a time when disability rights were not yet mainstream, this EO positioned the federal government as a leader in inclusive hiring. It strengthened interagency cooperation for accessibility policies. Present-day relevance. This EO was an early step that paved the way for later landmark legislation, like the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990. Its legacy lives in federal diversity hiring programs. Number 7, Executive Order 12,445, Certification of Containers and Vehicles for International Transport, signed October 17, 1983. Purpose: this order updated U.S. compliance with international transport container standards under the Customs Convention. Impact in 1983, it ensured that American freight and logistics systems remained aligned with global trade norms. This was critical for export-heavy industries during the Reagan-era expansion. Present-day relevance. The certification standards still in use today trace their roots back to this EO. It's a key example of Reagan blending deregulation at home with global standardization abroad. Number 8, Executive Order 12,435, President's Commission on Organized Crime, signed July 28, 1983. Purpose: to investigate and develop national strategies to combat organized crime. Impact in 1983. Reagan's administration made a strong law and order push, and this EO provided institutional muscle to federal anti-mafia efforts. The Commission's findings led to new legislation and interagency cooperation. Present-day relevance. Modern federal organized crime task forces and RICO applications still benefit from the data and policy framework this EO enabled. Number 9, Executive Order 12,413, amending the Generalized System of Preferences signed March 30th, 1983. Purpose: modified trade benefits under the U.S. GSP program to better align with national economic and foreign policy priorities. Impact: in 1983, the EO strengthened trade relations with developing countries while ensuring national security-sensitive goods were excluded from favorable tariffs. Present-day relevance: the GSP program remains a pillar of American trade diplomacy. Reagan's adjustments signaled a more strategic use of economic tools in foreign policy. Number 10, Executive Order 12,416, Intergovernmental Review of Federal Programs, signed April 8, 1983. Purpose: amended a prior EO to strengthen the role of state and local governments in reviewing federally funded projects. Impact: in 1983. This EO empowered states to shape how federal grants were deployed, promoting federalism in line with Reagan's belief in decentralized governance. Present-day relevance still referenced in federal-state coordination rules. It helped shift federalism from a theory to an administrative practice within Reagan-era executive strategy. These 10 executive orders reflect the philosophy and priorities of Reagan's 1983 presidency, a blend of strategic restraint, institutional transformation, and economic repositioning. Each of these EOs continues to echo into the present day, shaping the rules, systems, and philosophies that guide American governance. Coming up next, President Biden will deliver his closing reflections on how these orders shaped America then and now.
Some write history with blood, some with laws, but the sharpest stroke comes from the pen. Executive power ain't just a tool, it's a weapon wielded by the few, affecting the many. They sign it, we live it. They order it, we obey it. Here, watching, digging, remembering, from the plantation to the proclamation, from internment camps to civil rights stands, from surveillance laws to student loan draws. Order can change your life, and you might not even know it, but now you do. So stay locked in, stay woke, stay sharp. We ain't just talking about power, we tracking it. Executive Order Watch, and we ain't blinking.